Good morning, Karen Bonifilio, Inner Realms, Outer Journeys. I hope everyone's doing well today. I always tell you that we have a special guest, but as you can see, you know that we have a special guest. Miss Jennifer Rose. How are you today, Jennifer?
I am great, Miss Karen. How are you?
I'm flying high today. I'm feeling really good.
It
I'm
is.
having a wonderful day with the people that I'm going to see and meet, and you're one of them. Um,
Yay.
well, Jennifer, first, before we start
Mhm.
talking about what we're going to talk about, would you tell the audience, because there will be people there that don't know who you are, can you tell a little bit about yourself, please?
Okay, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Miss Karen. It is a beautiful day. It's the sun is shining. It's summer in full bloom. So I'm super happy just like you too. So thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm honored to be with you once again. And I am a psychic medium and a spiritual or transformational guide. I work as a healer. I also have some shows on the Sacred Spiral Network as well. I do public speaking, teach mediumship classes and healing and all things spiritual, and coaching as well too. So I keep quite busy, but I love what I do. It all lights me up. I love working with spirit. I love helping people. So
She does. She
thank
has
you.
so many classes, you guys. It's crazy. You need a little something, she's got it, which is wonderful. And I want to tell you a little story about Jennifer first. When I started my journey of, all of a sudden I'm making videos and reels, and I'm supposed to interview people, and I have this tendency, and I'm trying to get rid of it, where I minimize myself, and I think, who am I? I'm a nobody. Who's going to want to talk to me? Well, Jennifer has a huge following, and I reached out to her, and she said yes. And I was so surprised, and it was so nice, and I was so humbled. So that's how we started our journey together. And then I continue to keep learning from her as we go along. So it's really nice. And do check out her shows, because she's got a lot. She really
Thank
does.
you. It's very sweet.
Okay. And today we're going to talk about twin flame and global ascension. Doesn't that sound cool?
Yes.
Well,
It
first of
does.
all, let's start. What's a twin flame first, and then take it away, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, that's a great idea. And we'll start with the basics of what
ask.
that is and why it's important too. So there's a lot of buzz out there in the spiritual community about twin flames. It's a huge topic that's out there, and it seems like it continues to grow and become more and more that seem to be able to identify with that connection or that label. So, in very short terms, you could think of it as one soul in two bodies, and so it's like your mirror or your identical you, another version of you, um, living in another body at the same time. As you know,
Now, okay, so my soul would be living in this body and another body.
yes.
Now, would that be also considered a parallel life, or is it happening on the same plane that this body is?
Yeah, that's a really good question because sometimes a soul can project itself in multiple lifetimes. There really is no time and space. And so you could even be connecting with somebody who's having a similar lifetime as you during the same time frame that overlaps too. And so this is where it gets kind of mystical and phenomenal too. But I wouldn't necessarily say that a parallel life is always a twin flame. There's a possibility there, but the soul can it can create aspects of itself in multiple ways. So we're talking very multidimensional terms when we're here too. But that's a great way to look at it. I would say that a soul could project itself into multiple lifetimes, but still be living in slightly different frequencies. Whereas your twin flame is the same frequency. So I like to put it in very simple terms, like you're the same spot on a radio dial. And so you're sharing very like uncanny connections and similarities too. Whereas like a soulmate or other karmic partners or other life people that are in your like lifetime soul family, other lifetimes, they're going to be very close on that dial, but not necessarily right on the dot, if that makes sense. Brian Weiss wrote a book about soulmates too, and he kind of talks about it like leaves on a tree. We're always connected to the entire tree of every lifetime that ever was in humanity and beyond. But then there's like your branch and your leaves, and the closer the leaves are, that's like your soul family too. So then when you get to a twin flame, it's like the same leaf. It's just that one leaf.
No, that's a good analogy. That's a really, I think I have all of his books. I need to go read that chapter in one of his books. I haven't read them in ages.
I forget what it's called, but it's he tells a story about soulmates who found each other. They ended up both coming in to see him, and then he realized they were telling the same past life stories, and he was like, "Whoa." And so they did end up meeting, and they did end up getting together after that too. So it's a very romantic story.
Well, I think that Carl was my soulmate.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
But not a twin flame.
Yeah. You're probably happy about that because most twin flames don't actually end up together. So you're probably happy that he's your soulmate.
So I might have a twin flame out there.
That's very possible. I might not go looking.
So when I date, I'll go, "Hey, are you my twin flame?" And they're going, "What's she talking about? She's crazy." Or they're going to say, "Yeah, I am." Yeah. Okay. What are some misconceptions about a twin flame?
Okay. So I'll kind of run down a little bit of a list of kind of like how you would know if you were in one or not. And so but with misconceptions it's very heavily romanticized, and with the goals of like always ending up together, but that's not always what's meant to be and what's meant to happen too. Now, there are people who may think that they're a twin flame because there's a significant overlap with a strong, what we might call attachment patterns that people have that could make them feel highly attracted to each other. There may be sort of a codependency and addiction patterns too, and that those types of relationships tends to be very, very intense and very hard to heal from and move away from. So sometimes people may be convinced that that's the twin flame. Not necessarily. There has to be some very distinct factors that I would look at to kind of help somebody confirm. And if it turns out they're not, they'll be able to move on. They'll be able to move on and kind of mostly forget about that person and have a new relationship. So that's where it gets a little bit dicey, where people, because they're so they're so in love, they're so high on brain chemicals, they're so attached energetically through their own attachment patterns developed from childhood, or codependent addiction patterns, that they get convinced in their mind that it's that too. And they may be disappointed to find out it's not that, because they feel like, what they've created in their mind is now no longer true. So it puts them in a little existential crisis. But over time, I think they probably would be happy because they'd be able to move on easier and meet somebody else too. With a twin flame relationship, there is a very strong magnetic pull that's between the masculine and the feminine. So I may say man or woman, but I really mean masculine and feminine, because I know we've got very fluid gender roles these days too, and so it can change out there, right? But there is an intense magnetic pull. There's periods of coming together and separation, and coming together and separation, and in these separation periods, extremely painful usually for people to go through that.
Fun.
Yeah, it's a very painful process to go to, but I promise I'll make it positive in the end. Because when you come out the other side, you've learned so much about yourself, and you've learned so much about love, and you've transformed significantly. So that's the good part. That's all the good part too. But moving to get to that point can be extremely painful. It can be worse than a deadly disease. I'm sorry. It's so painful to have all of your insecurities, all of your past traumas and wounds sort of brought up in a very short period of time to be healed and cleared and worked through. So much spiritual growth has to happen in this period too. So typically there will be a spiritual awakening, a Kundalini awakening with these couples to one, both, usually should be both at some point too. But the magnetic pull, it's not just a brain chemistry thing, it's an energetic thing. So there's a very strong energetic connection and psychic telepathic connection. And that will just continue to grow over time, especially with this sort of psychic telepathic connection. So that means you feel what they feel. They affect your moods, they affect your day, all of that. You can't separate yourself from it. You just learn to manage it over time. You learn to recognize it and manage it. That's why it's so important to work towards the positive end of this, so that you can, whether you're together or not, and most people probably will not be, then you can stay in an energetic harmony with that other person, even if you're not talking to them. So that's why it's so important to do the work.
Okay, so
yeah.
Obviously, you have made this agreement before you came here, and you were going to have that, and you were going to learn from each other.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's a very strong mirror. And so you're mirroring things to the other person. So things that they may see in you are things in them that they also need to recognize as well too. But also the flip side of that is you're bringing out the best in those, in your twin as well. So there's things that you may have strong within you, and you help to activate that in the other person and help that part to grow. So you become more and more whole, more and more integrated, more and more dynamic over time. So that's the positive. That's like a really good thing about it. And then you're going to feel like, I almost feel like I am that person now. It's because they've activated all of these qualities in you that were there, just weren't really developed. Super cool. Yeah,
I think I have a twin flame with everything you're saying.
You may.
I think I do.
A lot of people do. It's very big, the spiritual community. I can pretty much spot them. It's kind of like, you have a little bit of radar where you can kind of spot it easy. So a lot of mediums and healers are meeting their twin. It seems to be very big compared to, going back into, this goes all the way back into ancient time. I mean, Aristotle even spoke about these things too. And you could say it goes back to Adam and Eve, perhaps even. And, but now it's very prevalent, and there's a reason for that, because it's having to do with our ascension process that we're getting into, but we can get to that in a minute, in a few minutes.
This is going to be a fun talk.
Yes, I know, right? I know, right?
You guys are going to learn a lot today.
And, yeah, I'm so grateful that we're having an opportunity to share this conversation and share this information, because there's just a lot of people that need help with understanding too, because they can, there's so many things out there that could that might make it harder for them, or make it harder for them to move through sort of the stages of the twin flame, because they're getting very much in the romantic thing, and they're maybe going against their own instincts because of that too. So we have to be really, really careful. I'm sorry, love?
You're going to share the stages?
Well, it's gonna be different, a little bit different for everybody, but typically when you meet, there's going to be a very intense connection, but that connection is usually happening before you even meet. So you're going to be feeling these sort of weird psychic things happening, like there's somebody out there that you're supposed to meet, romantic or not romantic, and but you don't know why that is, why you're feeling that too. And you could even be feeling that person and their moods and their experiences and thinking that they're your own. This is where it gets to be very metaphysical, they'll trip you out, because then you'll be like wondering, how much of my life was I feeling me before I even met this person, right? So,
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
very intense magnetic attraction, very much of that sort of love bubble that people get into. It feels like living every fairy tale that was ever written, every love story that was ever. You just feel like you're all of the movies too.
Mhm.
But because of there typically is one person who is more of a runner. They're the more avoidant personality, and one person who is more of a chaser. They're more of the attachment personality. That's where it tends to start getting this push and pull that tends to happen too. But it's okay. You're supposed to have periods of separation where you can heal and grow. But it's just very painful, especially for the person who's the chaser.
Exactly. That
Because they're
needs
like,
that.
why did this person just leave me out of nowhere all of a sudden? Like what's happening? Because you think it's all about you. But so that's why it's so important to work on your stuff, to work with a therapist, work with a coach, whatever you can do to uh, grow within yourself so you can get to the point where that isn't going to take your whole world down anymore.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I'm just getting chills. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm getting chills right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And typically there's a lot of obstacles too that make it very hard for twins to actually come together. So living far away, that's a big one. Living in very long distances where you'd have to do kind of traveling or those kinds of things too. There may be gender dynamics, sexual preference dynamics. One person's married, both people are married. That can happen as well too. Age gaps. So the twin flame thing does not follow the rules of conforming to society
It
at
doesn't.
all. It
Not at
does
all.
not follow. It is known as the big rule breaker. It is a paranormal, metaphysical, energetic relationship, but one
Well,
of the most painful ones you can be in, but one of the most opportunities for personal growth as well, too.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm writing this down, Jennifer.
I'm happy to go over this with you later too.
Seriously, because I got
Yeah.
something in mind right now that that we will not mention. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And
Got it?
that's yeah. And the energy, what happens is because I like to explain to people like it's not just something that the two of you can control. Like it is beyond your personal free wills because there's a we, and the we is your soul. That is you, right? It is both of you. And that's the part that really has control over this dynamic. And so that's why people are like, why am I just like laying in bed, going to sleep, thinking about nothing or random things? And all of a sudden this sort of paranormal energy comes in and visits me. And you're like, what is that?
Going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like what is that psychic paranormal energy that's coming in the room? That's, and it's the magnetic pull starting to create that too. So it creates the barriers, the separation, but it also creates the pull back together too. So once you learn to identify and understand what's happening, then you can wrap your head around this and learn to live your life, manage it.
I had no idea all of this
Yeah,
existed out there.
it's
Oh my
good stuff, huh?
It is good stuff. It is good stuff.
Yeah,
Wow. And I could see the dynamics that would be a problem, especially if people are involved with other people, yet they're attracted um,
yeah,
to
yeah.
each
Then
other.
you're kind of like
That,
Romeo and Juliet trying to fight
yeah.
for your love. It's
Don't drink the poison, though. Or, well, it was poison. Maybe she fell asleep. Wow,
yeah,
Jennifer, that's crazy.
it
So,
is.
and the purpose of, I mean, it really is. It's blowing my mind, quite frankly. Yeah, I'm going
Yeah,
to be talking to you and doing some
yeah.
research on this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to let you continue.
Okay. All right, let's see.
I know you got
So
a lot to say about this.
yeah, so typically there may be, years of sort of push and pull coming back together, going back apart, coming back together. Some people could go for these for decades even too, and don't actually end up coming together. So I can't promise anybody that they're going to end together. Some do. Some do make it together if they've both done a lot of healing work, and they could even end up getting married too. So
Really?
there is a happy ending for some. But I tell people, like, your best solution, your best bet is to focus as much energy on yourself, your personal development, your own healing, on all aspects: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Just everything you can throw at it, do it, but you will transform. You will come out on the other side. And the biggest gift, Karen, is unconditional love. And that
Oh
is
my
the hardest thing for people to do in this world. The biggest gift is you learn to fully understand what unconditional love is. And that means even if it hurts that you can't be with that person, or even if it hurts when they're not paying attention to you, or creating periods of separation, or even just dropping you, the day after they told you they loved you, like, all of these things can happen. But you learn to understand that is not a reflection of your worth or your value. It's
God.
just what they're experiencing in that moment and how they're handling it too, right? And so then with unconditional love, it's like you let them live their life the way they need to live it, and do them, right? And so then there's no unrealistic expectations. It doesn't mean that you just have no boundaries and allow them to treat you poorly. It doesn't mean that. You can take your own break. You can take your own note. You can tell them, like, that's not okay, and express yourself too. But it doesn't change the love, and you're not getting hooked into the dramas. You're just creating your boundary, saying how you feel. I didn't like that, or I need some space, and then allowing them to figure themselves out, do their thing, and understand that they're on their journey, and we're all also living a human journey that is complex. And so we do nice things, and sometimes we do mean things. And
Mhm.
that's how humans are sometimes. But with unconditional love, you learn to understand it wasn't to hurt you specifically. It wasn't about you. It was how that person was reacting in the moment to protect themselves, things like that, if that makes sense. It was a part, right? So that's why parts work is very helpful. So I would recommend to people, work with an integration coach or work with a therapist who can understand parts, family dynamic systems, things like that is very helpful. And then you're learning to understand the energy. You're learning to understand how human beings as a whole relate to one another. So that will help you in your other relationships as well, your friendships, your work relationships, all of that. Thanks for listening. That was a mouthful.
No, no, that would be so
Yeah.
helpful. So, but would a therapist, I know that you do this type of work, but would a
Yeah.
therapist know about twin flames?
Yeah, not all of them. Some of them might. And so that's why you might have to be discerning in who you select with that too, because they may just be convinced that you're in a trauma bond, and that's what they're going to try to work on to get you out of, right? And you may be, and if that's the case, then you will be able to move on with your life differently, and that's okay. And there may still be trauma bonds in your relationship. You may still have an attachment avoidant dynamic pattern. You may still have a codependent addiction pattern too. All of those things can be possible because there's an overlap. This is why some twin flame coaches are very careful, or even getting away from the term, because they see people staying in very unhealthy, toxic relationships because it's their twin flame, and they think they need to keep staying and staying and staying to the point where they're damaging themselves or hurting themselves. So that's an important thing. That's not what this is about. This is about growing you,
Is
focusing
it?
your energy on you. And so, yes, some therapists may not be the right fit for you because they'll
Mhm.
try to convince you otherwise, and that's not necessarily wrong. It's just, if you are convinced because you're checking every single box of what a twin flame is,
And you go, I'm at my twin.
then you might, want to look for somebody who will believe you, if that makes sense.
Well, I think you would need a metaphysical transformational coach or a therapist for this.
Yeah, that
It's
helps.
just not run of the mill type thing.
Probably not. I think at this point it's so prevalent that there's probably a lot more therapists have heard about it than
Oh,
we might expect. That's my guess, but I'm not sure. But that's my guess too. and you can still get help from them. It's even if they want to put you in a different framework, they may understand, they may think of it as like this is just your belief system and be able to still help you with your healing journey. And so that's okay. So it just depends kind of on how you can relate and what your expectations are too. So even if they don't believe in that, if they can still help you, that's fine too. Yeah.
Does trauma have to be related to finding your twin flame?
Well, everybody's been through trauma, so typically the activation of that is going to happen, right? And so that happens in most relationships, most romantic relationships especially, is you tend to like trigger each other's stuff from the past and tell yourself a bunch of stories about it. But we all do that, but that happens on overdrive for sure.
Okay.
And and you may find that like with you and your twin, like one of you has had a very different upbringing. One may be a very easier upbringing, one may be a very challenging upbringing. And so you seem to be almost like opposites in the way that you grew up, yet you have so many uncanny similarities from little ones to big ones too. And it's like, so that's when like something weird is really going on, And
so many differences.
Yeah. And so that's a very typical marker. Very different upbringings, yet uncanny similarities in the little things that you do. If you think about, this is another good way of another analogy, is if a woman were to give birth to identical twins and they would be separated at birth, right?
Okay.
So they're sharing the same DNA, right? They've done some talk shows, like Oprah did talk shows back on this way back in the day, right? And they find things like they use the same deodorant, they or they
hair the same way or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They married the same kind of person and had the same kind of kids, like really weird things, but they grew up very differently in very different households because one was maybe given up for adoption or something, or maybe both of them were given up for adoption. So despite the different upbringings, the different parents, the different neighborhoods, they still have all of these things in common and they still feel each other. So, identical twins feel each other beyond other types of bonds, heart bonds, energetic bonds too.
Yes.
I've met people who have, identical twins in their family, and it's like they just feel each other all the time. There's that kind of connection. So very similar to that. So the only difference is instead of sharing the same DNA, you're sharing the same energy, you're sharing the same frequency. And so it's a little different. And
this is just crazy.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It really is fascinating. Now, do you have do you know if you have a twin flame, you yourself?
I have been through this journey and I have come out into a really positive end with it too. So that's why I'm happy to be talking about that, so I can give people hope. I can give people hope that they can move on and live a beautiful life, even if they're not together, right? And there is another, and there is another reason, so the gift of really fully, embracing and understanding unconditional love is such a beautiful gift to have, and what's good about that is it's like you're just not going to hurt as much anymore, and you're not going to have these big upheavals anymore when your twin or somebody else does something that that you don't like, right? It doesn't mean you're not. It doesn't mean you won't be sad. It doesn't mean you won't feel it, but because you unconditionally love that person, and again, that doesn't mean boundaries. That doesn't mean tolerate hurtful behavior. It just means you understand that they're living on their journey, and you let them do their journey the way they need to, and whatever's meant to happen will happen, right? And that's such a beautiful gift. But there's also this purpose, and there's probably different opinions about this when it comes to the collective. So that's kind of where we're getting into the next phase, is the collective, is the mission. And some people may think that you don't have to worry about the mission. Like that's not a thing. Just do your twin flame journey, move on with your life and things like that. So there may be some disagreement in that. As I've come to understand it, I do believe that for at least a lot of them, they are here for a reason. And that is to help with the elevation of the frequency of the collective, to help us with the ascension process.
Awesome.
Because the love is such of a high frequency.
And so amplified.
It's so amplified. Exactly. It is such a bond that when you two can harmonize, here in the 3D, together or not together, but you're energetically harmonized in unconditional love, there is nothing that dark or heavy or negative that can pass that, you know what I mean? It heals the whole, right? I'm getting chills as I say
beautiful.
That.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
You're not just healing yourself, you're healing the collective.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And your twin too, because when you heal, they heal. And you don't do your healing to purposely heal them so you can get them back. That's a different thing.
No,
you heal, but some people do that. That's why I said it. Some people do it because they do it because if I do this, I'll get them back. You have to do it for yourself, right? And but then the gift in that is because you're energetically bonded, they will get something from it too. And so it goes back and forth in that way too. But yeah, so that's why I really wanted to talk about this, is because we're in such a critical time of ascension and global awakening.
Yeah.
We need all hands on deck, right? And so it's not just the twins, the mediums, the healers. I think athletes, anyone who can hold at high frequency and energy, who can, what I call, hold the spiritual power within them, whatever they want to call it, the flow, the zone, that kind of real mind, spirit, body connection that people have. Maybe they're just they've done a lot of self-development. They're not into anything spiritual, but they're into a lot of self-development. They know who they are. They carry a high frequency. They carry a lot of what I call spiritual power within them too. So this starts to create this kind of grid of people around the planet.
Wow.
So you may be here, your twins over here on another continent, but you're connected this way. You're all like these points of the grid, right? And so when you can harmonize your energies, it doesn't mean necessarily come together in the 3D. You may remain more in this 5D dynamic, but each other exists, right? Yeah. Then their frequency starts really sparking up and lighting up all over the place. So and then
you have a lot of people doing that too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I do believe it's important. And the first step is just take that energy, put it in you, do you the best that you can on all levels, right? And because then that is the journey of getting to this place, and the rewards that you will get to experience is much more internal freedom within yourself, right? And then understanding love in so many more high frequency ways. And on top of that, you're helping humanity.
So, that's a great trifecta. That is a beautiful trifecta.
Exactly. So, I think twin flame coaches say, if you think you want one because you're hearing the romanticizing out there in the community, it's very heavily romanticized right out there too. I want my divine partner. I want to have that Kundalini awakening. I want to experience the white light, right? I want. And most of us would be like, no, you don't, because you will be going through years of emotional pain.
Yeah, there's pain. Yeah. But that pain equals growth.
It does. Yeah. And very amplified growth, but you're forced to do it in a very short time too. So it's hard work, and you can still do a lot of good too in other types of ways, in other types of relationships. So, a soulmate relationship is still very beautiful, still very high frequency, and your ability to harmonize is much easier. So a lot of twins do end up in a relationship with a soulmate, and they just know they're twins out there, and they're connected in more of the 5D. They're connected in the ethers and the spiritual realms as well too.
Can you have a twin flame and not know, but you feel connected to that person and not know that person. And
Yeah.
I don't know, how does that work?
Yeah. And that's why I said a lot of people do start feeling them before they actually ever meet them. And so I definitely think that's possible. So there may be some where you have one and you just, maybe you don't ever meet them, but you somehow you feel them and they're affecting you and you don't know why. And so this is where it gets to be hard because, when you're very empathic and it's hard, what's me, what's you, like that's challenging, right? To do. But that's
I would
why
think
just
you have to be really in tune with yourself, wouldn't you?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Very, very mind, body, spirit connection, mind to body connection, mind to spirit connection, mind to emotional connection on all levels. So it's really important that you really like tackle this in a multifaceted way.
Wow.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a loop, in a trauma loop type of thing for a very long period of time and
Oh,
have a
we don't
really
want
hard
that.
time getting out of it. We don't want people drowning out there. We want them ascending. We want them
Yes.
rising.
Yes.
We want you to experience like happiness and joy and freedom again, twin flame, together or not, and move on with your life and have a beautiful life and help raise the frequency of humanity. So
That's
I make that sound so easy, but
no, it's not.
I'm very aware how much work it is. It's
Yeah,
an
that's a lot
incredible
of
amount of work.
work. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Especially,
it could uproot your whole life and change everything around on you. And your friends may not be able to handle you anymore. So it's like all kinds of things can happen, so it makes it really hard. It can be very isolating because people don't believe you. And so then you have to find people who do believe you, things like that. But
everything
I
has
find
a reason.
twins tend to attract to one another. So you find other people that are like you, and then you have
Exactly.
someone in common that you can kind of bond with and chat with, in private and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jennifer, I'm loving this talk. I really
I know. Well, we've talked about so many things in the past before. We had to come up with something new.
well, that's yeah, I know, but I had no idea. But this was supposed to happen
Yeah.
when it did, so I already know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Um, keep going, keep going. I don't need to ask all my questions. I don't even need to ask you. You can just tell me.
I know, right?
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say
Okay.
what advice would you give to someone who feels stuck waiting for their twin flame? And how do
Yeah.
you even know you have a twin flame?
Yeah, yeah. I've have people come to me that for that, or it's part of what they're coming to me for,
Mhm.
and they already know what I'm going to say. We've got to refocus all of that projected energy back onto you. You have to flip it around and turn it around to you. It's very hard to do when there's this magnetic bond between the two of you, right? And then you're trying to heal yourself, and then they feel you. Uh, let's say you're the feminine, and then the masculine pulls away. That's usually what happens, and they pull away because they get it's too intense for them, right? And they can't be in that energy for a while. They need to go and work on themselves to get themselves what I would call energetically regulated or emotionally self-regulated, right? And then okay, so now the feminine is like, all right, I've got to focus on me. I'm going to go no contact for a while, or maybe permanently. That's what your decision is. And then they feel the distance, like, so then the masculine feels the distance, and somehow then they end up kind of like chiming back in, sending a little text, sending a little something, right, like too. So it can be hard to create that container of separation when they feel it and they come. But even if they don't come, you're still feeling them energetically anyway. So it really takes a lot of
Mm.
a lot of willpower to be able to do that. But you can do it. But that's the thing. And when I say that, they're like, "Oh, I knew you were going to say that," and it's just like, um, work on it and on all levels, and remember that um, you've never lost them. That's the thing, is the feeling of I've lost them. They're
Yeah.
gone forever.
Mhm.
That's what people are, the grief, the mourning. the longing, and that's the magnetic pole creates this longing type of feeling. And so you've got to eventually move past the illusion that
Right.
you are separate.
Right.
It's an illusion.
Right.
Just like we know we're in an illusion of separation from spirit, but we're not. We are spirit having the human experience, right?
Mhm.
So that is another gift, is being able to break free from the illusion. Breaking free from the illusions of being a separate human is really hard to do. It's really hard. The illusion is super sticky, super real. And
Because
I've been through.
we're living this. So that's
We're
just
living
what
this
we're living.
exactly.
Yeah.
So eventually you become self-aware and conscious that you're living it more and more and more and more. And that's what helps you to break free of the illusion. The more self-aware and being conscious of that, you're kind of in this sort of matrix of a holographic game that you're in, kind of thing. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all.
No.
Then you start to understand, okay, I'm consciously with some agency, in this, stage of life, like Shakespeare would say. Right.
Well,
And
didn't
so,
he say the world is a stage and we are the
and we're
actors?
all, yes, and we're all actors upon it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he got it, because I think because he was a playwright, so he could see the parallels from his characters and human characters, that we're all kind of doing these same stories back and forth, just with different names, different color hair, things like that, right? We're all playing the same stories, all very archetypal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but we've also got these very archetypal defense mechanisms that make us human, that make us protective of ourselves too. And we have to work through those to come into greater stages of authenticity. So the more authentic you become, the more self-aware you become, the more free you become. Freedom is an internal thing, and that's what really changes the game in your life, where you can really live a very dynamic life with a lot of miracles coming your way too. So, yeah.
But you said some really important words: authenticity,
Mhm.
and then unconditional love. And there was
Yeah.
one more thing that was key that you mentioned. Did I write it down? No, I didn't. But there was something else with that. It'll come to me later.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, gosh, our time is almost up, Jennifer.
Well, we did a really good job of covering a lot of things too. But I definitely want to remind people that there's always hope for them, and they will and can, get past all of the emotional pain that they go through. That doesn't mean you're never going to be sad again. It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, but you can get to a point where you can really stay in your body and live a happy life and help humanity at the same time. And you will love the gifts that you give to yourself from doing the work. And you know me, I'm all on personal development. I talk about it all the time,
All the time.
because the every one of us who decides to do this, twin flame or no twin flame, is helping humanity, right? Because we're connected to all of it. So when you get a critical mass of people that are saying, you know what, I'm
Sorry.
not going to be on this game of manipulation and power play, which is pretty much how most of the world runs, right? And that doesn't mean there's not love, but that's how people relationally interact and don't even know they're doing it. It's very unconscious behavior. And you realize, I'm going to try to work in a different way, in a more authentic way, in a more personally empowered way. That's a whole game changer, right?
Yes.
That's an important word, game changer, right? We're changing the game, right? We're changing the way it's played. And that's what gets us into more oneness. That's what gets us into more peace. That's what gets us into some really good stuff. And I do believe that the other dimensional realities, you want to call them ETs or star being friends, things like that, that's what they're wanting us to also do, because they've done it. So they want us to kind of evolve to like where they are, if that makes sense.
So far evolved.
Right.
So much more
Right.
than
Exactly. And they don't think they're better than us. They just are more advanced than us. But they know that we can get there too. And so, yeah, we're a big, this planet's a big player in the star system of life.
Yeah, we kill each other. That's not very advanced, you know.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know, right? I know.
God.
Yeah, we could get going on that one too. But so everybody who makes a decision to make their own life better
Mm-hmm.
can do it. And I know it's hard. There's so many challenges, even just in the environment, that make it hard to feel good. The food is hard, out there too. It's hard to feel good with the status of the way the food is out there too, and the
I
quality
agree.
of
I agree.
air and drinking water. Like that affects your physical system, your hormones, your endocrine system, your brain chemistry, and how you feel. So it's like that's why you have to like every little part of you that you can help to feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I know it's a lot of work, but the rewards are great. Yeah.
Anything that's worthwhile is going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
The growth
Yeah.
is going to be astronomical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, what better gift than to understand unconditional love, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, isn't that like what our like most ascended beings
That's
were
what it's
and
all about.
are?
Sounds so
Right.
easy, but it is. It all comes back to love.
It all comes back to love. And
You
we
know,
we had a talk last week about rose-colored glasses, and I think we've forgotten. I actually wrote down a little spiritual thing that it kind of popped in my awareness. I channeled, and it was like, love is the rose-colored glasses we forgot to look through.
yeah. And I
You
will
know,
never take off my rose-colored glasses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we don't see the beauty and we forget the beauty,
Yes. Yes.
then we're just amplifying more of the negativity, right? And
Right.
the negativity, I'm big on, we got to look at it. If we don't look at it, we don't talk about it, we're bypassing it, we're denying it, we can't heal it, right? And I think everybody's kind of got that now. I think we've just discovered that not looking at things is not good for us, right?
Yeah, we have to do
Um,
both. We have to do both.
yes, that's the light work and the dark work, right? But if we forget the beauty, but when we remember the beauty, when we remember the love, when we remember our connections with people, when we remember so many blessings that we have in life, and can count them in gratitude every day, right? We're amplifying that
So
energy
that's what
too.
we want to amplify,
Yes,
but still
yes,
know what's going on around you. I
exactly.
I had put on
Yeah.
the thing about you that you're just this really nice person, and how much I love you, but you have so much simmering under the surface of you, and you do. You're so knowledgeable on a lot of things, and I'm not
Thank
just
you.
trying to butter you up. I'm not. I'm just speaking my truth to you.
I appreciate it, Karen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, Kelly, can we have a ticker tape go across the bottom in case people want to get a hold of Jennifer so they know how to get a hold of her? That would be kind of cool. There we go. Yeah.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah, I just realized it wasn't going, and I thought, oh, we need to do that. Before I do love from Bono, do you have any last things that you would like to say, sweetie?
Oh, I'm so excited for Love from Bono. That's so exciting. I
Bono,
know
Bono had a lot to say today.
he's amazing. I know I've had the gift of being able to connect with him for you, right?
Oh
And
my
he
gosh, he
really is.
loves you.
Oh,
He,
he's so amazing. I love him too. Yeah. And I guess I want to tell people, twin or no twin, but especially the twins, is like, you're gonna be okay. Like you're gonna be okay. Like you can do this. There's so many gifts waiting for you. And I know how hard this journey is, that you're going through, but you're going to be okay. And you, it's on some level, knew you were coming here to do something big and to help a lot of people. And don't think of that as pressure. Think of that as, the gift that is
a gift.
lying inside of you, the treasure, the gold that's hidden, that's waiting to be activated and brought out and brought forth. And it's like, you can get through this. I know you feel like you're going to die, or you even want to die. You're not going to die. You don't want to die. That's existential. That's existential grief. You will want to live and live well, live your best life, and love yourself abundantly and radically, because the more you love you, the more your twin will love him or herself, and the more the world will change. So that is your freedom. There is nothing selfish about self-love. It is your gift to everyone to love yourself. That's the game changer.
Why are you making me cry?
Because it's spirit, your heart's opening.
Wow, that was
And I know
beautiful.
how hard it is to do. I know how hard it is to do because we develop all these beliefs that we're not good enough from the
Right.
time that we're little. Because when we're little, we think it's all a reflection of us. We think it's all about us, of something that's wrong with us, and we carry that into adulthood. And even little things can make us do that as child. It doesn't have to be, horrendous abuse. Little things that one person says, a teacher, a friend, a parent,
Right.
can create a belief in you. And that's what we need to unravel, heal, transform, transmute, right? And then you come into your authentic self, which is loving you and knowing your own divinity, knowing your own heart, knowing that you are beautiful and perfect, and nothing that happens around you is can change that. Always continue growing, always look at areas that might need a little polishing here and there within your
Mhm.
personality, but it doesn't fundamentally change the beauty and divinity of your own light.
Could we
Yeah.
dare say that, well, before we come here and we made these
Mhm.
agreements, we make that
Mhm.
agreement as a twin flame? Would that be correct? Okay,
I
so
would I would say so.
okay,
I don't think that's random.
and and building upon that, that we have
Mm,
come to do that, and that's hard work. That is hard work.
yeah.
Would we dare say that your soul has gone through a lot of evolution to get to that point where you will have a twin flame to even amplify that even more? Does that make sense?
Um, Yeah, I mean, I think that if you have a twin flame, you've already had multiple lifetimes together as well, too. Maybe
Yeah.
not every lifetime, but multiple lifetimes. So yeah, it's continual evolution. And I like to say, with when we talking about multiple lifetimes, we're all like links on an endless chain that interconnects and weaves together. But your link is still uniquely and specially you. That's what makes you special. It's your little link on the chain, and it always continues to move forward in life.
So, guys, do you see why I love her? Beautiful way of looking at things, and it's the truth too. Oh, Jennifer.
Thank you, Karen.
Gosh. Okay. Um, are we ready for love from Bono?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So where's that husband of mine? Let's see who pops up today. Oh, I love that picture. Yeah, that's when we first met. And that was shortly after he asked for my hand in marriage. Little stinker. So love from Bono. Before birth, before entering this realm, each and every one of you sat with your heavenly team and planned your evolution, what you wanted to learn during this lifetime. I did that. My wife did that. I died when I was supposed to, even though I promised my wife I would be here up to 90. There was a point that she was angry at me. I kept reaching out to her and she opened up to me. She realized we chose this path together. I died for her growth. You all have the same heavenly experience. You decided everything, your lessons, your evolution, how you look, where you live, everything. My wife told me she was going to embrace and learn from this lifetime. She chose all this grief. She chose this pain. I have heard her say to me, I'm not fucking doing this again, and will go wherever my life leads. Doors open when you follow the correct destination. Don't hate your life. Don't wish for this. Don't wish for that. You have chosen this. Look into yourself. Does this feel true? Look deeper to discover your purpose, your evolution, your growth. The other side is loving you and cheering you on, no matter what you do, no matter if you digress and stumble. That is part of your life, chosen, made before you came into this body. Your team is there for you, as I am here for my crazy woman. I am so proud of her. What an interview, you guys. Between Jennifer and Bono and all of this. This has just been crazy good. So let's put Bono off to the side for a while.
That was
Oh,
beautiful.
wasn't that? I couldn't believe how much he had decided to say this time. Probably because of you. He does love
Aw.
you. He does. Oh my gosh. Jennifer, thank you for coming on. Always a
You
pleasure.
are so welcome.
And I always learn so much. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Karen. You're beautiful. You're lovely in every way. So,
Well, I feel the same way about you too.
okay.
So
Thank you.
thank you very much. And we will chat later.
Okay. Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.